हेलो एंड वेलकम टू रेडियो जिंदगी। मैं हूं आपके साथ में ईरा। शो लेके आए हैं गुड मॉर्निंग जिंदगी, जिसमें अब शुरू होता है अटॉर्नी शाह पिराली के साथ में द शाह पिराली लॉ शो। यस लिसनर्स, वंस अगेन वी आर जॉइन्ड बाय अटॉर्नी शाह पिराली ऑन एयर विद अस. He is the founder, president and managing attorney of the Shah Pirali Law Group, which is headquartered right here in Newark in California in the Bay Area. And he is a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association as well as the State Bar of California. He is a passionate advocate of the human rights, civil rights, social action and social services, and he has a strong interest in and also a knowledge of the political and the legal system here in the U.S. He formed his law group to work on the causes that he feels most strongly about. His law group focuses on immigration with an emphasis on employment-based immigration. And they help their clients all over the U.S. उनके offices in Newark में, यहाँ पे Bay Area में, San Francisco में, and also Washington, D.C. So if you'd like to get in touch with Attorney Shah Pirali and his team, you could log on to the website piralilaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. You could also call them up on 510-742-5887. But the best way you get more information about Attorney Shah Pirali and his team is the website, piralilaw.com. We're also live on the Radio Zindagi Facebook page right now. This conversation can be viewed over there. So if you have any questions and comments, you could leave them in the comments section. So let's get started, Attorney Shah Pirali. Without any further delay, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Anna. Good morning to all the listeners. Thank you for the nice welcome. You always make it nice for me, and I really appreciate that. And today we're going to talk about, of course, about immigration law. We always talk about immigration law, and it's going to be more. And I have not really focused today on the updates, except there is this announcement by the USCIS that they basically make a pledge that they will, the U.S. government, that they will always be a welcoming country, let's see now, welcoming country, and really treat immigrants fairly. To their credit, yes, they have done this lately, and we are very happy about that, but at the same time, we still have tough stuff to deal with. So let's today I'm going to talk a little bit about a few tips, because many times people in the middle of the conversation, they get lost and they don't really appreciate basically or understand sometimes small things that can really kind of put them into difficult situation.
Okay.
For one, I was going to talk, because I'm getting this a lot lately. A lot of people, when they get their 797, which is the approval notice, for example, for an H-1B, they think, and they get their I-94 on the bottom, they think that I-94 is pretty much the controlling. Yes, it is, because you're inside the U.S. But what happens is that people travel outside, right? They get a stamp, they come back. And oftentimes, based on the date of expiry of their passport, an I-94 will be issued accordingly. For example, let's say someone got a 797 at basically I-94, which allows them to get up to a full 2023 of complete stay in the U.S. They travel outside to India and they came back, and their passport expired in 2022, June, for example. And when they come back, they will get an I-94 which matches that June, because the passport expires on that. And many times people forget to check. Always make sure when you're traveling to check the I-94 website. Because what happens now, if you forget about it, you think you're all set because you have an I-94 on your 797 approval notice, 797A, which allows you to stay till 2023. But the truth is that it's not the case. What you have actually is only 2022. But I'm just using an example here, right? Where it becomes a problem is that people continue staying after that, and they think they're legal in the U.S., and they are not. And once they accrue unlawful presence of more than 180 days, it becomes very hard to fix it. And many people will do. So the tip of today is very important. Make sure you go ahead and you get the 797 stamp, because if you don't, not stamp, but check online, because if you don't, what will happen is that you will have a different I-94 that is what on your 797A, which is not controlling at this point. There is something called last action rule. Last action rule means whatever happens last is what is going to be controlled. So even if you have an I-94 that goes up to 2023, it's only the 2022 that will work. So make sure you check that, because a lot of people are getting into trouble because of this. Now, fixing it requires a lot of work. For example, you might be able to talk to the CBP office, which if it is a long time later, they won't do anything. Or you will have to file an extension, an I-539, or ultimately leave the country and come back, etc. So make sure you check that. If there's any problem, give me a call, 510-742-5887. You had a question or any call right now? No.
We did have a caller. We were getting a call, but that call got dropped. So I'd like to remind everybody that if you are listening and if you have a question, if you'd like to speak to Attorney Shapir Ali right now, you can give us a call on 510-770-1550. 510-770-1550. Call us and ask us any immigration-related question, and Attorney Shapir Ali would love to answer that question. Let's continue.
Yes, indeed. Just because I'm talking about a specific topic, it doesn't matter if you have another question, something completely out. Of course, as long as it's immigration related, feel free to reach out and call us at on the studio number, and hopefully we will be able to answer your question. So another thing I wanted to mention also, right now H-1B is opening. I mentioned that last week on March 1st. And it will be closing on March 18th. So make sure that if you want to be in the lottery, or if your company wants to sponsor people, make sure you talk to your attorney right now, because they need to start getting ready for your stuff, including basically registering you with the Department of Labor for the LCA, and ultimately preparing the cases and lining them up to be filed on the lottery. For people who don't know, the system is a very tricky system now. Not tricky, but it's better system. But the system also requires that it's a three-part process, right? First, we have the lottery, and then two, we have the system of basically once you get in the lottery, then they will call you to apply for the H-1B, and they call twice. So once they finish those, once you finish filing, if it is approved, it will only start on October 1st. So there are a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. So make sure you talk to your attorney right now so that things can get moving. So for those people who have called me, bear with me a little bit. We're in H-1B season, so sometimes I'm not able to answer all the calls, but we will try to make sure that someone from the office will call you back or email you, and we can proceed on the cases. I just wanted to let people know that, hey, we are here. We will help. But at the same time, bear with us, because right now is the H-1B season. Whenever this comes, it's not like before when it was really, really very busy, but it's still a system that we still have to align cases so that we can move forward, okay?
Okay. So the H-1B season kind of really keeps you busy. And how long, I mean, right now, has the filing already started? The paperwork would have started at least.
Actually, the filing, no, but we are preparing the cases, aligning them. Because we get some companies can send us a lot of cases in one time, so do the lottery for each one of them. So we have to make sure we don't missing anybody. So in order to do that, I have to prepare the list, etc. And our team has to do that. And then in order to do that, you need to give us the things early, because first we have to make sure the candidate qualifies for H-1B.
Right.
Your job person qualifies for the H-1B. Your company qualifies for one that can give H-1B, because not everybody can get an H-1B, right? So all this needs to be done prior to even filing. So make sure you contact us early. We will still be taking cases in the next 3-4 weeks, but if you wait longer, then I might not be able to do it on time. So make sure that you let us know, okay?
Right. So, Attorney Shah, if somebody's company is sponsoring their H-1B, but they have any questions, so can they still consult with you outside of that company's arrangement?
Well, this is the thing. I can consult with them as if I'm representing the company, then I have a duty towards both sides, right?
Right.
So representation, so I have a duty towards the company and the candidate. However, if you already, let's say for example, you work for another company, they have their own company lawyers, but you want a second opinion on the case, and you want to know how to do things, or, well, I won't be able to guide you really on the consultation, but I can at least advise you what needs to be done next, and then if you want us to handle the case, we'll be glad to do that.
All right, that's amazing. So listeners, do get in touch with Attorney Sharpirali and his team if you are looking for some sound advice when it comes to U.S. immigration. Call him up on 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887, and the website to get more information about Attorney Sharpirali and his team and his practice and how they can help you. The website is piralilaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. We have Attorney Shah on air with us till 10 a.m. So if you have any questions, you can call us on the studio number right now on 510-770-1550. That's 510-770-1550. Yes, Attorney Shah, let's continue before. And if I get a call, I'll let you know.
Okay, perfect. So the other thing that we are seeing a lot right now is also a situation where people are downgrading, right, from EB3 to EB2. They don't know what really needs to be done. Is it a good idea or bad idea? I've been talking about it for weeks now.
The EB3 to EB2 would be upgrading, won't it be?
Yeah, they downgraded to EB3.
EB3 before, right.
So the issue that they are facing is that can they do that? The answer is yes. Now it's clear the USCIS have made it clear that they will accept it. You need to file what we call the Supplement J and also make sure that it's done on time. Because some people, what they were doing, they were filing a second adjustment of status, which is the Form I-485. And what it does, it creates two A numbers for you. So you have to be very careful if you do that, because it will create confusion. When you reach your time for citizenship, this can come back and haunt you. So be very, very, very careful on that. So the way to downgrade what they call the interfiling is moving the adjustment of status from the EB3 to the EB2, back to the EB2, and ultimately the way you do that, you use the Supplement J, and the receipt of the Supplement J will act as confirmation your case has been accepted there. It doesn't mean it's approved, right? It just means it's been accepted. Okay, so that's basically the general rule. But if you want to assess if it is a good idea for you to move back to EB2, then it's a private consultation because it's a case-by-case basis. You can give us a call at 510-742-5887. So that's another thing that I'm getting a lot of questions out. Now, Ira, if you allow me, I'm probably going to talk a little bit more today about cases which is related to family petitions.
Let's do that, definitely.
Yes. But before we move there, let us talk a little bit quickly about the H4 because it's related to employment base. As you know, the H4 is attached to the H1, and we have this situation now, H4 EAD. A lot of people are still using the H4 EAD, but at the same time, we are seeing a situation where a lot of people are basically facing a divorce. And they don't really have physical abuses, but it was mostly emotional abuses, and they are not really having any kind of remedy. And that's why we have come up with this new petition. It's not new; it's been done for a while.
Yeah.
But we want you to sign basically to protect those people from pretty much having to go back, because unless you're a victim of an abusive relationship in terms of physical, you don't really get something to stay. Like if you're physically abused, you get the U visa. But if you're not physically abused, then you're pretty much done. You cannot really go anywhere. So I highly recommend, if you need help, please give us a call, 510-742-5887. And the other thing that since we're talking about abuse cases, I'm going to talk a little bit about family petitions, including VAWA, which is something. When you hear some of the stories, they're very heartbreaking. But at the same time, I want people to know that you have basically a friend in the system. The system allows people who have been abused emotionally, physically, and who have been abused also sexually to be actually be able to file for what we call a VAWA. And VAWA requires three things. Actually four. Number one, your spouse, who is the abuser, has to be either a green card holder or a U.S. citizen. Number two, it requires that there was a bona fide marriage. What is a bona fide marriage? It means that the marriage was entered in good faith. Okay. How do we prove that? That's pretty much our work, but anything can prove that. Letters, pictures, bills, you name it. All this can actually help. Now, the other thing that is very, very important in a VAWA, of course, is the abuse part, right? You need to show that you have been abused. Because if you don't show you have been abused, then there's no case, right? And abuse, like I said, many times people are abused, but they don't even know they are abused. The reason for that is that many things that are tolerated in pretty much other countries are not accepted here in the U.S. They are not the norm, right? Women are not subject to be properties, right? Which is something, unfortunately, that many other countries do. And also many things like simple things like basically insulting someone continuously, calling them names, etc., can amount to abuse. A threat like, hey, I'm going to slap you, or raising your hand, and even not slapping but creating fear, it becomes some kind of assault. So even though they are not convicted in a criminal court, we can use it for an abuse case, right? So many people don't know that because they never really think they are abused. They just think, okay, it's not working out. But they are being abused because they have been really taking it for years and they accept it as norm, right? But it's not. Until we talk to you, we won't really know. Having said that, now, don't make up stuff. Because a lot of people now, they think that, okay, it's too easy, we'll just make up stuff.
Okay.
Make up stuff, and they find out, you will be charged with fraud and misrepresentation, which is worse. And the fourth thing that is required is actually that you are of good moral character. For example, someone cannot really kind of just have a lot of criminal charges or is an abuser herself or himself and then try to claim VAWA. Although there are chances sometimes that, for example, someone is attacking their spouse and the spouse defends himself or herself, that's not really that's not really an abuse. It's self-defense, right? But proving that is another issue. So all these things needs to be proven in order to win a VAWA. Now, the first part, like I said, the most important part is that the husband, well, not most important, but the first thing that we need to know, if the spouse is a green card holder, the abuser is a green card holder or a U.S. citizen. Without that, we don't have VAWA. Because a lot of people call me and say, hey, I'm an H4, he's an H4, and then I want VAWA. No, it doesn't work this way, unfortunately. And that's what actually we were talking about. There's no real remedy for people who are emotionally abused under H4 or even a student visas. So U visa helps if there are physical abuses, but not just mental abuses. So it is important to actually know all this, because otherwise you're going to have a very difficult case and you will end up into more problems in the future. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about. If you want us to do an assessment for VAWA, give us a call 510-742-5887. Any questions from your side?
So, Attorney Shah, U visa and VAWA, are they pretty much the same thing? What would be the difference?
A VAWA and U visa usually, I think they enacted them together under Biden. But the U visa is completely different, because the U visa applies to all victims of certain crimes. For example, if you are assaulted with a gun while you're going to shopping, you can be eligible for a U visa.
Okay.
If someone tried to, for example, blackmail you for money, you can be eligible for a U visa, right? And also you can be eligible for a U visa if you're domestically in a domestic abuse case. So U visa is for all of this stuff. But the effect of the VAWA is a straight green card. The U visa, first you have to get it approved. First you have to get it certified, signed by an authority like a police officer, etc. Then when it's filed, after that, then it takes around 67 years to get approved. Once it's approved, you get an approval as a U visa. But the good thing is that as long as it's pending, there are two things. You're eligible to stay in the U.S. And number two, now with the new rule, it's easier to get a work permit while it's there. But it doesn't allow you to travel.
Does not leave the country,
think that
right?
visa would allow you to travel, but it doesn't. But it's a wonderful visa because it goes in parallel with a lot of other. You can have your H-1B while the U visa is running, etc. And ultimately, after you get it, 3 years later, you can apply for your green card. So altogether around 10 years, but it's a sure deal because in the meantime, you get an EAD. So that's how the difference is a U visa. It applies for everybody, not only for spouses, etc.
Okay.
But VAWA applies only for spouses, and the spouse has to basically have what we call it, is a U.S. citizen or green card holder, and ultimately you have to prove those elements I mentioned.
So
but
VAWA,
the U visa.
So in the case of VAWA, the abuser has to be a citizen or a green card holder. Non-immigrant visa holders cannot. They are not eligible for VAWA, even if it's a domestic abuse case. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they have a U visa option, which is applicable for everybody.
But it's like the U visa also allows you to even if you're not married, for example.
Right. So U visa is universal. That's for everybody.
Yeah. As long as you're a victim of those crimes, you're good to go. So it is important that you know the difference, because if you don't make the difference, then you're going to end up asking for something you cannot get. And I've seen people who file them and years later they find out they are not eligible for it. So make sure that you pick the right one and you talk to an attorney.
That is a lot of time wasted if you've been waiting for this and after years you realize.
Many of them get their work permit in between, so they're okay with that. But they pick the wrong one, then they have to start over again.
True. Oh my God. All right. Listeners, again, if you are just not tuning in, we are in conversation with Attorney Shapir Ali, and we've been talking about immigration, about employment-based immigration, and also family petitions. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask him, you can give him a call on his office number 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. The website is peeralilaw.com. PEERALLYLAW.com. We're also live on the Radio Zindagi Facebook page. So if you want, you can leave your questions and comments in the comments section, or give us a call on the studio number with your question. Attorney Shah would love to answer that question. We have about 6 more minutes to go, and the number to call is 510-770-1550. That's 510-770-1550. Yes, Attorney Shah, what else would you like to add?
Well,
about that H4 petition, I'm sorry, I don't think we told everybody where to go look for it.
Yeah, I think we need to do that. The petition is on change.org.
Change.org, yes.
And hopefully if we can post it on the link on the comments, that would be great.
I would do that.
That would be very helpful. And also, if you search on my name, petition on change.org, I have a bunch of petitions there that I would recommend that you sign. I want you to sign. I'm not recommending. I want you to sign it, because with your help, that's the only way we can change stuff. I cannot do it on my own, so I need your help. Well, Ira, since we have only like 5 minutes to go,
yes, we do.
I will kind of recap on the situation that is happening right now. For one, we have the H-1B season opening, so I will recommend that you get going. And I know right now we are in a new timing, and a lot of our listeners are pretty much kind of seeing me fluctuating on the time. But now we're going to be we'll stick to that time that we have right now, and hopefully we'll keep our 9:30 to 10 a.m. On Radio Zindagi, and I want you to pretty much share it. And also my YouTube channel, one thing which is very important, I have a lot of stuff I put there, and I would highly recommend you subscribe to it. YouTube.com Shapir Ali Law, SHAHPEERALLYLAW. I need you to basically kind of subscribe to it, because right now, like, I used to write a lot of articles. Unfortunately, it's time consuming, and YouTube gave me an easy way. So I post it there. I try my best to post every week. At least a radio show we post every week. But until I get really some good stuff, I won't post it. But I know people would post things like every day with a lot of stuff. I don't do that because if I do that, then when do I have time to actually do the work? So it's we have to balance all this. And I was talking about the H-1B season opening. This is major. If you're a company, please give us a call and 510-742-5887. And also I wanted to talk, of course, about the situation of people who downgraded to EB3. Should they move back to EB2? The answer is yes, because, well, not yes for everybody.
Not for everybody.
Most people are say yes. So in order for us to know, we'll do a personal consultation. Feel free to reach out, 510-742-5887. And also one thing I wanted to tell people is, whenever we're doing that downgrade, don't file, upgrade, kind of, don't file a second adjustment of status, because if you do that, it will create problems. I mentioned that earlier in our topic. And also, of course, the other issue we talk about is the H4, fighting for the H4, which we spoken about a few minutes ago. And I want you to sign on the petition. It's very, very important. We need your support. We can't do this without you. So many people are suffering because they're just left hanging. There's no provision in the law to protect them, unfortunately. And if we change that law, we give them some kind of temporary protected status, we should be able to protect them. Now, finally, the big thing we talk about today is VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, one of the biggest, just to let you know, my first case I took in my life was a VAWA.
Oh, wow.
So, and we won, of course, but it was something very, very, how to put it? It was something unique, because you hear stories that you won't really see in reality. You think everything is perfect, but life is not perfect, unfortunately. But at the same time, I would highly recommend that you make sure that you work with people who have experience how to do VAWA. I've done a lot of VAWA in my career. I have stopped counting. I think maybe 500, 600, I don't want to say. But a lot of them we have helped, and most of them have saved pretty much everything we want, except a couple of them. But the truth is, we really kind of assess the case before we move forward.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do, because just jumping into a case and just trying to pull things together to make it happen, it won't work. You need that expertise, and we can help you on that. You can give me a call, 510-742-5887. And I think we're almost done now. I wanted to thank you. Thank Radio Zindagi. Please subscribe to our YouTube. Anything I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. Good luck to all of you. All the best. We'll be back week same time. And this is, I think, on your Facebook page. So please check it. Okay? Take care.
Thank you, Tanisha. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you, listeners and viewers, for tuning in. This conversation will remain on the Radio Zindagi Facebook page. Meanwhile, also subscribe to Shah Pirali Law on YouTube. He will be back with us next week, same time, same place. Thank you, Tanisha, for being here. I'll talk to you again next week. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. You stay tuned to Radio Zindagi.